Hello, I'm Brigantia Blackbird of the Blackbird Grimoire. Welcome back to the daily forecast for Saturday, May 4th, 2024. Good morning to you. Happy Saturn's Day. We are in the Taurus season, the Celtic true month of Willow, the Beaver season, the fourth quarter waning crescent moon, Pluto retrograde, and today happens to be my wedding anniversary. And of course, it is Star Wars Day. So may the 4th be with you and happy anniversary to me. Now, because it is my anniversary, I have indulged with having just this one slide. I won't go on ad nauseum, I promise, of the wedding. The first picture there, it's me and husband units. You see, in case there are any doubters out there, the man is not a figment of my imagination. There he is in all of his long-haired Viking glory. Then on the next page up top, you see the altar that was prepared with our offerings and everything, including the floral arrangement. I did all of the floral arrangements myself. It was a lot of work. I still have burns from the glue gun, and I will never, ever shut up about it. And also, if you go down one, you see that I made up ourselves a little maypole there, and I also have our cake, which I made and decorated. Yes, I was insane. Yes, probably later on this month, we will be talking about weddings and how not to drive yourself crazy if you're doing that. But that was the day. It was all very purple and all very pretty. And now I am very glad that I can look back on all of this and think about what a good day it was and how beautiful it turned out, and not think about all of the anxiety and hard work that went ahead of it. So, moving on, today's astrology. The sun is in Taurus, fixed earth, representing practicality. The moon is in fourth quarter Pisces, mutable water, representing artistry. Then at 2:06 p.m. Central Time, it does go void, of course. Then at 3:41 p.m. Central Time, it enters fourth quarter Aries, which is a cardinal fire sign representing being energetic. Mercury is in Aries, cardinal fire, alertness. Venus is in Taurus, fixed earth, artistry. Mars is in Aries, cardinal fire, initiative. Jupiter is in Taurus, fixed earth, practicality. Saturn is in Pisces, mutable water, imagination. Uranus is in Taurus, fixed earth, renovation. Neptune is in Pisces, mutable water, imagination. Pluto is retrograding in Aquarius, fixed air, which means we need to examine our intentions. And remember our Pluto retrograde mantra: reflect, heal, and evolve. Now, the moon is a waning crescent, so again, rest, reflect, and purge. As we are going into that Aries moon, remember to be courageous, do brainstorm, and do make decisions. No more dilly-dallying or shilly-shallying. Just do the thing. Don't get involved in conflict resolution if you can avoid it. Don't get bogged down in anything that requires a great deal of patience. And if you're feeling feisty, stay away from those sharp objects. Now, it is the day of Saturn, and it is possible that we will have a burst of creativity today. So, if that happens to strike you, make the most of that mood. Perhaps the source of your inspiration is rooted in nostalgia. If it is, fan those flames, bring everything that is good from the past forward, and endeavor to pass that on to the next generation. Today's tarot card is the Two of Cups, very appropriate for my anniversary because it represents partnership, romance, and bonding. As again, it's about people coming into union with one another, which if you missed my Wicca 303 class about union yesterday and you're interested, you might go ahead and check that out. There's a playlist on my YouTube for the Wicca 303 classes. It'll be the most recent one. But for today's tarot card, it is all about, working together with someone, and not just, in a practical sense, or, I'll work with you because I have to, but forming that working relationship out of affection and love, and allowing that to be powerful enough to move you and to moving in the same direction with that person, to wanting to be in partnership with them, it's not about two people who happen to be going the same way, and then, if they one gets distracted, they might go another. It's about really making that decision to walk together, and that being a mutual decision, and that they're being give and take in that relationship. That's what the Two of Cups is really all about. Today's Celtic triad reads 3 ways leading to poverty: gambling, gluttony, and harlotry. So when it's talking about gambling, it's not talking about, having a friendly game of poker every now and again or, small things that you can afford. It's talking about overindulgence, and that overindulgence in games of chance that has frequently had a disastrous effect upon people's finances. And there are many people who have struggled with addiction on account of that. It's very anything that is habit forming, you do need to keep an eye on to make sure that it is being balanced and harmonious in your life and that you're not having bad effects upon anything else. And then when it comes to gluttony, I mean, eating disorders really do lead to ill health, which means money for doctors and not for you. And we see a lot of people who are pushing this idea of body positivity. And I've mentioned this before because I'm really quite frustrated because there are very few people who are talking about an actual balanced, sustainable lifestyle that's something that the normal person can achieve. It's either, these absolute health nuts and fitness bros. They're talking about go to the gym, this and that. I'm thinking a lot of people don't exactly have money for gym memberships. Could you be at least, advocating for exercises they could do at home? Maybe a YouTube channel or something like that, something that doesn't necessarily require investing in equipment but that they can still do in a reasonable fashion for a reasonable amount of the day, because that's the other thing. Because we are in a difficult economy, many people are having to work two and sometimes even three jobs. So if you think you have time to do all that and, and have this absolutely perfect diet and have a perfect exercise routine and still, manage your marriage and still be really involved with your kids and all of this stuff, I don't know what planet you're living on. There are 24 hours in the day. And no matter how good someone is at managing their time, I mean, there are limits. And so I do find myself frustrated with that, just as I find myself frustrated with people who are doing the other extreme to where they are overeating. They are eating things that, any reasonable person would know is pretty unhealthy for you, particularly in the amounts. The day before I recorded this video, I saw a story about how this couple actually divorced after the husband saw that his wife had allowed their daughter to eat an entire stick of butter. Not a stick of butter that was even used to cook in anything. It was just a stick of butter, chomp, chomp. And, obviously, I cannot imagine that anyone would think that that was a beneficial thing for the kiddo to be doing. Just people have no balance. They have no sense of what is reasonable. And I would really like to see people trying to say, okay, what's something that most people can manage? What's a reasonable thing? What could we be doing to improve the state of our food supply to where we're getting, our nutrients and our vitamins and all the things that we need to be healthy? And also, what is a reasonable amount of, physical activity that people could actually fit into their routine without, them finding themselves and neglecting other responsibilities in their life. The lack of balance, it really bothers me, and I think we're paying a terrible price for it in our society. To say nothing that a lot of the people who are advocating for, whatever size or shape you are, you're obviously healthy when, medically that is inaccurate. I find them really obnoxious, and I find the fitness nuts and the exercise bros, to be equally obnoxious and not beneficial. So they're just opposite sides on the same coin, as far as I'm concerned. Then, lastly, harlotry. Essentially, what a lot of people now try to use the tactful expression of sex work. What it is prostitution. And the thing about that profession is that it really is short-term gains and long-term losses, as many people who did go the route of OnlyFans saying, well, it's not really this because no one's actually touching me and all this and that. What's the harm in people looking? And a lot of people do this, and what really is the issue? Well, they're discovering that perhaps that wasn't a good thing for them psychologically. A lot of people have discovered that not everyone makes the fantastical amounts of money that were advertised, and then of course there is always the loss of personal dignity, and people do seem to lose respect for it. And this isn't just only the Abrahamic religions think that. No, that's not true. There are plenty of pagans who have expressed very similar ideas, and it isn't a hatred of anyone engaging in this work. It's just why did you do that to yourself? Why did you go that route? Was there really nothing else you could have done? um and there's one thing that people just refuse to discuss, is that kind of work has detrimental consequences. They're so busy trying to say, "Oh, we're cool with this because it annoys people with whom we're at odds with, either socially or politically or religiously or whatever else." And I think it's we need to start grappling with the fact that simply doing the opposite of groups that we've left or groups we disagree with, that's not necessarily pursuing virtue, and it's not necessarily pursuing anything that is helpful to a person. I think there's time for our society in general to have a process of maturation on that. You sometimes, even with people with whom you have profound disagreements, you do sometimes have some common core values. And considering how scattered to the winds everything is getting, I think having some common core values that could at least keep civilization together a little bit. I think we're past time feeling the need to focus upon that and not so much on, haha, I did this thing that you disapproved of to get rid of you. I mean, that is the mindset of a teenager, and it is really time for us to move beyond that kind of mindset. Now, our magical intention for today is a knowledge. The color is blue, the plant is blue sage, the animal is blue jay, and the crystal is sodalite. So, have you formed the habit of relating information you obtain to observable reality? Are you testing your knowledge? Do you actually know what you think you know? And is it in accordance with reality, or is it something that's an idea that someone had that once you put it to the test doesn't exactly hold water? Because it isn't enough to just possess knowledge. It's enough. You need to know, does this knowledge actually have value? Is it really knowledge, or is it something else? So, something to think about today, especially in this information age with the internet. So, for today's pagan practice, I might contemplate the polaric balance in the craft between witches and wizards. And I'm not talking about them necessarily being in romantic entanglements together, but I am talking about what the masculine and the feminine both bring to the craft, and how this is a balancing force. And how, I hope that over time, if we don't, maybe we won't see so much a balancing of our numbers relating to, the balance between men and women within the craft, but maybe we could see that our brothers are occupying their proper place, and that we're not trying to force them into being essentially us without the boobs. So, thinking about how those qualities really do balance each other between the masculine and the feminine in the craft, I think that's could be a very fruitful meditation. Then you could contemplate the questions of what would improve relations between the sexes. People have a lot of ideas out there, and some of those ideas are pretty kooky, and most of those ideas have led to things worsening relationships between men and women instead of improving them. So, applying yourself to thinking, okay, what would actually help? Throw away, all the garbage we get into our heads. Just try to look at it with as fresh eyes as you can and think, what would help? This is also a good day to balance your projective and receptive energy, tidy up your altar, and honor both a god and a goddess associated with magic today. Now, for our journal, what do you think would be the ideal menu for a spring hand fasting? And I typed a menu for spring fasting up into Pinterest just to see what kind of images it would generate. And it came up with this really pretty, I don't know if it's meant to be a pizza or frittata or whatever else that it is, but it is gorgeous. So think about, if you were in charge of a hand fasting and it was set in the spring and everything else, what would you want to serve? What do you think would really capture that mood of the seasons? And just see where that takes you. That could be very interesting. So that's what I have for you today. Come back tomorrow for another edition of the Daily Forecast. And of course, let me know what you thought of this one in the comments section below, or email me at brigantiablackbird@protonmail.com, and we can have a talk there. But that will be it for today, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.